further back you go in time, the more African they look.
Okay.
Right. Okay, let's take a look at some of the actual African images, like this African king, the first king of Kemet.
Of Egypt?
Of Egypt. His name, Mina. This is Pharaoh Zoser. This is the one to build the first pyramid. Remember, I gave you this. Let's put them on this chart here in perspective. These kings are in this pyramid age, which is here in the Old Kingdom.
Okay,
the kings that I'm showing you right now.
Okay, let's say that again.
These are the Old Kingdom kings, and the pyramid age is right here at the beginning of dynastic Egypt. Notice again, we have no Greeks. Abraham is not there yet, but these are the kings who are building pyramids. This is the king who built in the first pyramid. His name, Zoser.
Okay.
Here is the king who built the first true pyramid. His name, Seneferu, and he's the founder of the fourth family, or fourth dynasty of kings in Kemet.
Now, when you say true pyramid, what do you mean?
A true pyramid, well, the first pyramid was actually a group of brick benches stacked on top of each other, so they look like steps. The true pyramid is the one that has these smooth sides and it meets certain technical specifications.
Okay.
But this was the first true pyramid, and it looked like the Great Pyramid, except they weren't quite perfect yet. It was his son that actually built the Great Pyramid.
Whose son now?
Seneferu's son.
Okay.
The image, this man's son here,
okay.
Seneferu. And again, look at the facial features. He looks just like African people. This is his son, Khufu, the only statue that we have, or carving of Khufu that we have. He built the Great Pyramid. This is the one who built the pyramid next to the Great Pyramid. His name is Khafre, or Khafre. Greeks changed his name to Sephrin. This is the one who built the third pyramid. There's the group of three pyramids in Giza. And there are about 80 pyramids in all, but there are three in Giza that we usually see grouped together, and these are the three kings who built those three pyramids. Again, if you look at the pyramids and then you look at these three three kings, according to those carvings, are according to the image that we have of native Africans. They are native Africans. They are Africoid, Negroid, black kings of Africa. Now, I'm skipping. Let me move back to this time chart
back
again.
To the chart. Okay.
Because
let's hold on 1 minute. Let's let our cameras get in place here.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Go
do
ahead.
We have it here? Okay. This is the pyramid age here, and then there's a gap. There's a breakdown in here. Disunity, disorder, and then there's a new family that emerges in the 11th dynasty. First, the Mentuhoteps start the 11th dynasty, and so the 11th and 12th families are called the Middle Kingdom. So I'd like to show you some Middle Kingdom pharaohs.
Okay.
Okay. Let's take a look at this. This is a Middle Kingdom pharaoh. Again, very dark, very Nubian. This is Mentuhotep, who is the Middle Kingdom pharaoh, and the Mentuhotep family founded the 11th dynasty, and all those kings that ruled in the 11th dynasty generally were called Mentuhoteps. Then we move to the 12th dynasty, and we get to a very important pharaoh. This is Pharaoh Senwosret I. The Greeks changed his name to Sesostris. The reason I say he's important in this Middle Kingdom is that this is the man who, according to European legend, was the founder of Athens. In other words,
I'll say that again.
Yes, Athens, of course, was the great Greek city-state that most Europeans look to as the foundation of Western civilization because of all the things that took place there. And you did have a lot of great philosophers and others in Athens. But Athens itself, according to the mythological history of Greece, see, let's look at this chart again.
Okay.
Okay, here we have the 12th dynastic period. Around 2000 BC, we get actually a little earlier than that, we get Senwosret I, and it's at that point that these Kamites, or Egyptians, are found over in Greece. In other words, they're traveling all up into Asia and other places, and according to Greek mythology, at this point, which is the heroic age, see, you don't really get written European history until right here.
Okay.
This is the first time. That's Homer,
okay, and
who
that's
writes
about
the Iliad and the Odyssey. This will be about 850 BC. But we're saying that before Homer, they call that the heroic age, because that's where you have to have fairy tales about history and so forth. But in their fairy tales about history, the founder of Athens is this Kemetic king that you see over here on the slide.
Egyptian African king.
Yes, his name in Greek, they call him Kekrops. So if you read the history of Greece, you'll read that Kekrops founded Athens.
So look for Kekrops.
Kekrops. Well, Kekrops is the Grecian name for this pharaoh whose first name is Kepakare. So Kepakare becomes Kekrops. So Kepakare Senwosret I, who is one of the early pharaohs of the 12th dynasty, is the founder of Athens, according to the best research that we have right now.
And this would be what people call today, biblically speaking, your pharaoh.
This would be one of your pharaohs. Right. Right.
Okay.
Now here's Senwosret the first. Again, this is Kepakare again, the same pharaoh. There's another picture of it. But I just wanted to show you.
Where did you get that one from? I
well,
haven't seen that one.
I know you haven't seen that. I've been holding back on it. I just got this one this year.
Okay.
I got this year in the Cairo Museum. This is a beautiful statue. Just as you go inside, he's standing off to the left. There's not much information about him there, but his name is attached to the statues. Pharaoh Senwosret the First, Kepare.
So there's not much information about him there. Why is that? You're talking about a pharaoh.
Well, there's if you go through the Cairo Museum, one of the interesting things is there's more information sometimes about scribes than about major pharaohs.
Why?
Well, we have to speculate as to why it is, but some of the scribes that have all this information and attention and prominently displayed are the ones that have more European appearance.
And you find these Europeans coming into Egypt later on.
Europeans, you mean in terms of studying Egypt?
Right, studying and
the study of Egypt by Europeans began with Napoleon. He could be considered the founder of Egyptology.
All right. So these European images that you find of the...
Yes, there are images in Egypt, carvings, paintings, that would be more European or Asian in appearance, because there were types that had come into Egypt at all times. You know, people were travelers, a few settlers, and so forth. And they could rise in the hierarchy. In other words, there was no bar to their going to school, becoming educated, becoming even politically powerful. They could do that. But in general, there was no large population.
The Greeks barred for a time? Or
The Greeks were barred from schools up until about 500 B.C.
Okay.
And they began to go in with Pythagoras, with Anaximander, Anaximenes, a whole host of pre-Socratic Greek students went to Africa. Yes, and around 500.
And they would let them. What was the reason for that? For their not having been allowed to?
I don't know the reason for it. We just know that they were not permitted there. There was actually, according to George James, a bar against their admission.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I've taken you way off course.
That's okay. We're going back and see Senwosret II. Again, I want to show as many of these royal images as I can. Senwosret II. This is, remember we saw the first. This is the successor, Senwosret II, and then here's Amenemhet III.
And this is your Egyptian king.
This is an Egyptian king, pharaoh, Amenemhet III again.
Can you go back to that other one?
Yes, we'll go back to the other one.
Now this is an Egyptian king.
Yeah.
These statues, these images, and maybe we should say that these are not drawings recently done or
no, these are carvings that were done. This would have been done around 2,000 years before Christ.
Okay, now, these carvings were around all along.
Oh, they've been here.
All right. Why was it that you had European images when the Egyptian story was put on the screen?
Well, again, you have to remember what's happened. If you look at Egyptology and if you look at Hollywood, Europeans have claimed African history for themselves. And so you'll get Yul Brynner, Carlton Heston portraying Egyptians. You get Vivian Leigh and other European actors and actresses. And so after a while, the public begins to believe that this is what they really look like. We had these images that we could look at, and we could get people who looked like them, but they did not do it.
Now, we talked earlier about the minstrels period and where